Hi there, welcome to Peaceful Place Montessori. I'm Erika. I'm the founder and one of the teachers here, and I'm going to give you a brief tour of our West Campus location. So we're filming during the snowstorm, so please forgive my attire, and also the backyard is very, very snowy. So that's the place where the children enter, so we're just going to give you a little look around, okay? Follow me. It's a big and gorgeous garden. Here on the back porch, we have a little dinette that the children sit and have their snack. We'll put snack and water here. And the children have their hooks out here. They keep their jackets and their boots, which usually does not have snow. And just come over here and you can look at the backyard. So here's our shelter, which typically has a covering on it, but we took it down for the snow, of course. Underneath, we put things like tables with work on it, sensory tables, rugs with different blocks or manipulatives, and all different kinds of work that we rotate about once a month or so. And then we also explore our upper garden at the top, which we have a veggie garden, we have a strawberry patch, a raspberry patch, an open digging area where the children can use real, larger size tools. They're still children's tools, but they're more full-size shovels, rakes, hoes, things like that. So it's great. The children do lots of just moving wood chips with buckets. We have some trucks and buckets and shovels and just really kind of light props out here that the children use to just explore the yard and play together and have a good time. We also do some group work out here. We'll do circles underneath the shelter on our rugs and meetings like that as well. So we have a lot of group time outside as well and just really have fun together. So the kids' big cubbies are down below these stairs. We won't show you because they're covered right now, but children come in through the backyard, so they spend the first part of their morning here. And then they come into the classroom. Come on in. So when we come in, we take off our shoes, and each child keeps a pair of slippers here down below. This shelf is also our cleaning shelf where the children have access to cleaning supplies, and they love to clean the classroom, and help out any way they can. And we encourage that here. They also help with cooking and things like that. So I'm gonna show you our practical life area first. Come on up. So practical life includes things like pouring, spooning, tongs. These are actually little tweezers, but we do tongs and things like that. This is nuts and bolts, flower arranging, basically anything that helps the children learn a practical life skill, right? These are the dressing frames, which are a great example where the children are learning things like buttoning, zipping, things like that. So anything that helps them learn something that they need to know to make them more efficient in daily life, right? And parents and teachers appreciate that too. All right. In our practical life area, we also keep things like blocks, and other, kind of fun engineering tools. Here we start our sensorial area. And the sensorial materials were created by Dr. Montessori with the intention of enhancing the senses of the children. So we like to think of ourselves as kind of creating little super people, right? And there's one for each sense. There's many for sight, there's auditory, there's tactile, there's smell, there are taste. We're not doing as much tasting this year. And even in the tactile senses, there's things like baric tablets to tell weight, thermic tablets to tell temperature, pressure cylinders that work, with pressure to do matching. So it's really, really cool and really well thought out materials. They also include things like the bells and the music program. The bells help the children learn the notes and differentiate them. We also do guitar lessons at this location. So we have Lug guitars, which are real 3-string guitars that the children learn to play guitar on. And the children are great. Even the 3-year-olds will learn chords, and it's really, really fun. The sensory materials are also really well planned in the way that they, not only are the children learning different skills with their sight, but also, for instance, the pink tower the largest cube is 10 cubic centimeters, and the smallest, which we keep in a little basket, is 1 cubic centimeter. And so the children are also kind of sensorially absorbing base 10 and the decimal system as well. So it's a really lovely method that gives the children a lot of exposure and opportunity to learn through their play. It's great. Moving on, we have more sensorial materials helping us learn things like 3D shape. It's really fun when you get to hear a child, going, that's a rectangular prism, or that's an oval, or, ovaloid. It's very, very rewarding. Also things like colors, constructing different shapes out of triangles, and all types of sensorial work. We track the children's progress with our tracking sheets here. So there's a progression of materials, and we just follow along with the children so that we can keep track of what to introduce each individual child to next. They help teachers just stay in touch with each student's progress. Here we have the kitchen. The kitchen's a big part of our daily life here. The children will help with food prep sometimes. Sometimes they work in the kitchen, maybe doing Play-Doh or painting or waterwork or something like that. There's also the big table here that the children like to do their journals or do a little puzzle with a friend maybe. And I'll quickly show you their little cubby, their indoor cubbies here where they have their journals and their name cards and their pencil bag with their kind of high touch individual items there. All right, and if you'll follow me here, we have the children's water station where they know that they can help themselves to water and head to the kitchen to unmask and go have a little drink when they need it. They also get reminders throughout the day, of course. Here we have a little art center, and this has some kind of pre-made crafts, but again, they always have access to their own art supplies to create things that come to their own mind. But they might do some pre-made art. This is like a little stained glass work that they can complete. Here they're making little snips and gluing them onto the leaves as we study the leaf. Here's another cutting work. They can color it first and then do some chopping and maybe put it in an envelope to take home with their name on it. Here's a beading work. Who doesn't like to make a little jewelry? Maybe I'll decorate a bag and send it home as a gift for a family or a friend. Here we have the children's bathroom. They not only use it to, of course, wash their hands and use the toilet, but they also might use it to access water for a water work. Maybe if I'm doing chair washing, I need a pitcher of water. They also keep their spare clothes in there as well, and they know that they have them there. So if they need help changing after they've had an accident, or maybe they got wet outside, then they know that those are there for them and we can help them change. All right, come on into this room. This is a really fun and popular room. First, we have the puzzle shelf here. Super fun and different levels of puzzles. Some are super easy, some are more tricky. Here we have geography. We start really simply. Right now we're studying the continents, so we have a lot of work that deal with the individual continents. Here we have our puzzle maps. First the entire Earth, and then we go into all the different continents with all the different countries. And of course they'd be very tricky to put back together if we didn't use our base maps, which we use to match the pieces to. And then eventually maybe I'll put a piece of tracing paper on here and trace it to take home to my family. And to make a big project like that that might take a child a month, as a 3 or 4 year old child is a really special thing for them. They don't get that opportunity too often. So it's really fun. So yeah, more continent works here. Between math and geography, we keep the calendar, right? So understanding what is the calendar, what does it have to do with the Earth, and what does it have to do with math, right? So we keep track of time that way together, and the children might practice with the school calendar, kind of frozen in time here, the last day before break. Or maybe I'll make my own take-home calendar and hang it in my bedroom to keep track of the month on my own. Here we have our math section. And this first shelf is dedicated to 1 through 10, right? We start really simply with quantities. I want to know that a child can count easily. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Once they're really, really comfortable with their quantities, then I will introduce symbols, right? So I don't want the children to think that this is 4, because this is just how we write 4. So this comes second after we're comfortable counting. So after I'm really comfortable matching my quantities with my symbols, right? And I can say, what is this? And they say, it's 4. And I can count 4 objects really, really well and really, really confidently. Then I'm going to, do lots of work to reinforce those things. And then I will move on to my decimal system, which is 1,000, 100, 110, and 1 unit is where we start. First with quantities, then with symbols. And once the children get really fluid with those, they can start to use the bank to do all kinds of operations, even into the thousands, even division and multiplication. So it's pretty awesome because you're just really manipulating the beads, and the children love to play with the golden beads. It's really, really fun for them and really exciting. After we're comfortable with our, skeletal decimal system, then we start learning things like our teens. Like, what is a teen, right? I'm taking a 10 and adding some unit to make a teen number. And lots of different materials to reinforce that. This board's a really fun one where you're adding the beads and then you can trace the number with the little pencil. Quite nice. And then again, learning our tens the same way through using different materials. And this will be the first time when the students go from calling this 5 tens to calling it 50. And it really makes their progress seem so much faster, just because they're calling it kind of what we're used to hearing it called finally. So that's really fun. Here we have some some materials that let us do addition and subtraction 1 through 10. So they start doing that, and then maybe they'll start to write their equations as well, and they'll start to look a little bit more like traditional math that we see in elementary school. Here we have fractions. These materials teach fractions, and that's something that some students are prepared for before they go to kindergarten. So we are ready to expose them to it if they are prepared to learn. Here we have our zoology shelf. Right now we're studying spiders, specifically cross orb weaver spiders, which are the ones that we see a lot in our backyards in Seattle. And as an example, maybe I would have some photos of some spiders with a magnifying glass. Maybe I'll take the spider web and draw my own little spiders into the web. This one is a life cycle of the spider, and making books and things like that. So lots of different materials to reinforce the information we want the children to gather about spiders, just through working with the materials. And then with each subject, we try to have out lots of books too. So here we have lots of spider books to check out. Some are made by teachers, some are, manufactured. And it's pretty fun to learn about zoology work together. Here we have our botany shelf, and right now we're studying the leaf. So again, just lots of different things that reinforce the leaf, the parts of the leaf, what does a leaf do to help a plant. And then our last space here that I'll show you is our language room. And the whole room's dedicated to language because, as we know, language is such a big part of our lives from 0 to 6, and it's when all of our best language development happens. So we really want to kind of get them exposed to those letter sounds really at a young age so that it just becomes kind of a part of their daily life and isn't so tricky to learn later on. So we start with simple matching, and then we move into letter sounds, which the letter sounds we teach through using sandpaper letters. If I'm introducing this to a child, I'm not going to call this C, I'm going to call this K. Because just like the symbol numerals, that K is just a symbolic name, right? C is just a symbolic name, but K is the sound that this letter makes and what we need to know in order to read. So we just teach lowercase phonetic sounds to start, so your child gets a really firm understanding of those. And then once they know a lot of letter sounds, just by practicing, maybe by checking out some different tiny objects. Here we have K with a koala, a keychain, a kettle, a kangaroo. So just doing lots of fun matching games. This is a great one that's really simple, but just is so efficient at teaching sounds. A dog, right? And the kids love it, and they'll do this over and over again, and we change, maybe I'll change out the cards or change out the board or something to keep them coming back to see what's on the shelf. So it's really a fun and efficient way to learn letter sounds, just practicing slowly. And then once I know all my letter sounds, I'll move on to some phonetic 3-letter reading, which is super fun. Maybe a dog again here, or let's see what else we have. We have a hen. So I'd set out all my objects, and then I'd pick up one card at a time, and I'd say, what does this sound? What does this sound? Eh. What does this sound? And I'd say, we're going to say it a little faster now. And eventually they'll say, hen. I say, that's right. Can you put it with the hen that you found in the box? And they'll do so. And then once they've done that first word, I'll say, do you know what you just did? You just read. And once they read that first word, it gets the ball rolling, and it adds fuel to the fire for them to read more and more and more, because it's very exciting to read for your first time, of course. And so they do lots of 3-letter phonetic reading before they move on to 4-letter and up phonetic reading. And in this one, we're using pictures instead of objects, which is a bit of an abstraction. We try to go from concrete to abstract. But in this work, they might have a little bit longer words, right? Like here I have a 6-letter word, but it's still all phonetic. Helmet, right? So I'm going to be able to read that if I know all my phonetic letter sounds. So we start gaining some confidence before we start throwing in blends and tricks and things like that. So we also keep out lots of books throughout the year that change a lot. We also have things like word building to learn spelling and writing. And we just keep working with the students until these things are second nature for them. So it's really fun and easy, and they learn through playing with their friends and working with teachers. It's a really nice system. So just so you know a bit about our schedule, when the students arrive, they come at 9 a.m. They head to the backyard for some play with their friends. Eventually they slowly come in. Maybe we'll have a meeting where we introduce curriculum for that day or a new material that we want to show the children. After our meeting, the children go into their work time, which is where they're freely moving about the classroom, taking things from the shelf, working with them, and putting them back the way they found them. During that time, the teachers are pulling students for individual, small group, and large group lessons, depending on the children's readiness and what material they're prepared to use. And after work time, that's about 11:30, we'll start to clean up and head to lunch. The children eat outdoors if possible, and indoors when it's not possible, but spaced, and that's the only time we take our masks off for now. And after lunch, they finish up, head back outside for some more playtime. Maybe we'll have another meeting with some songs or stories or a game, something like that. And then we say goodbye. Parents come between 12:50 and 1:10 for pickup, and we end our day. We operate Monday through Thursday year-round, following the Seattle School District calendar loosely. Thank you so much for joining me on our tour today, and please let me know if you have any questions. Talk to you soon. Bye.